Hey, hey, here we go again. So, first up, it's gonna be those caves that we last left off. Let's see what we have. I guess it's a nice thing to start off from a dungeon atmosphere and surroundings kind of scenarios. That means we'll get some action right off the bat. Ooh. Away with you. Let's see. Oh? Okay. Well, gee, that was quicker than I thought. I thought I was gonna have like tons of caverns and whatnot to deal with, but no, I'm out of there already. Well, I guess if the last location really kicked your ass, it's really nice to get the chance to fly off as a bat and like refill your stuff. But okay. Well, now we're getting to the part I was talking about a little while ago. The part where I keep constantly shifting between having the axes and not having the axes, because there's going to be a lot of those trees I can chop down that either have goodies or paths behind them, and I don't want to miss those, but I also don't really want to face enemies with the axes. Let's try it out. That was new. That was new. It took only one swipe with the axe for that guy. Okay, so that kind of explains it. Like, I've always just not liked these weapons, but if you fill the area with enemies that are basically like deathly allergic to them, I suppose. Termagant Forest, yeah. But I don't want to go there before I have done the shuriken rinse and repeat stuff. So the thing right now, oh, that's good, okay. As long as I have that, I have the fast travel beacon here. Now we have a place to return to, and I can start doing that whole rinse and repeat business. Let's take the mace and let's just first return to the well, actually this wasn't the best. I shouldn't have taken the bat. I should have taken the sanctuary spell and just returned home that way. But I could just as easily just return to the Pillars of Nosgoth there, where I'm not going to watch that every time now. It's the same animation every time I return to this place, and especially if it's not anything like story centered. But yeah, let's actually like, there's only one pillar that's been cleared of corruption right now because of Napraptor. But once I get my hands on Vorador, he will swear allegiance to me, or rather he will lend his aid, and then I can continue on with this quest, and with his help, I'll make easy work of the next 3 all at once. But let's have a look at here. Look. Oh shit. Come on, Kane.
The Pillar of Time.
The Pillar of Time. Curious looking hourglass. I wonder, that looks familiar somehow. Yeah. So yeah, there's a definite tie to the oracle there. Time came next time. And that is exactly the reason why I said that he's going to be he's one of the most important characters in the entire story of the game series. In Blood Omen 2, he doesn't make an appearance. At least I don't think so. But then again, that game isn't very concerned with canon. Alright, now I'm basically overflowing with blood, so that means now that I go to the Spirit Forge, I can do it twice without having to worry, although I need to hurry because the blood does decline when you're just standing around, so that simulates your vampiric hunger for blood, but it's also something where you need to pay attention to it with things like this. So let's be as quick about it as we can. So it's the wolf form. Just go to this familiar place. Give me the shurikens. Well, I'm actually like pretty sure that just like with seeing how like absurdly powerful the axes were against those specific enemies that were around the place where I got the axes, it's I'm sure this game would be made even more easy. Like, I think the difficulty scale of this game is completely tied to the sort of Mega Man kind of thing that every like robot boss in that game is very difficult unless you have the right weapon from a previous robot boss and robot master or whatever. Whoops. Sanctuary, here we go, and let's return. Oh. It's the same thing here. If you would have faced, let's say, Malik without the reflective shield thing, it would have been a lot more painful. And I know for a fact that the next boss is very similar to where the shield is, again, basically the answer, and there's going to be future bosses where that's the case once again. So it's a very boss-centric kind of thing, and especially later on when you get like a weapon that drains your mana every time you swipe with that weapon, you're gonna start using energy banks like crazy on boss battles, and that's gonna be another like item spell that's very like boss battle centric. But I guess because there's so many different items, so many different spells, that in order to give them more yeah, somebody's grave. In order to give them more weight and like reason for existing. Oh, how did you? I didn't realize you guys would have. See, that's the thing again. For a lousy zombie, it took me like how many? Like 4 strikes with the mace, and with these mortals, the mace is like immediate, and it's one of these things. Thankfully, soon enough, I'll get the.
My mind was empty save for one thought: I would kill.
Yeah. I'm just gonna cut you off there, Kane, before you go any further with those voice lines, because he does go through the entire litany. And now we're gonna go back to the Spirit Forge. I think we now have like 40, so we still need to make like 3 stops here in order to get the 99. And once that's done, we'll return to where the game basically left off, in the Termagant Forest, or on the way to the Termagant Forest, and there we'll get all sorts of stuff. We'll get the mist form, and once we have that, I want to return to that place before the Oracle's cave, where you could walk on the lake and go to, there was like a gypsy camp looking location and a lot of caves. I want to definitely check those places out, and also in the early parts of the game, there's those rivers that lead off screen. I want to check those places out in the mist form as well, when you get to walk on water. Yes, let's trade secrets. But once I get the mist form, I don't think I'll be returning immediately back to those locations. But I think after I'm done with Vorador's mansion, at that point I would want to stack up on these shurikens again anyway. So let's just turn into the wolf and just be done with this crypt faster. But yeah, once I have to do the rinse and repeat stuff anyway, I'll visit those locations then, because most likely there's going to be a lot of goodies that will be quite useful when it comes time to visit the next location for gathering tokens of the guardians of the pillars. See, the location after Vorador's mansion is a place where two of the pillar guardians are hanging out, and you get to kill both of them. And while you're doing that, they've summoned Malek to protect them, and you'll summon Vorador to kill him. So, since Malek is the pillar guardian of conflict, you'll get 3 on the same kind of climactic section of a quest line. But then again, there's been multiple locations thus far where the climax hasn't been a boss battle, and it hasn't been like a pillar guardian, so kind of balances it out. It's still similar amount of locations as there were the pillars, you know. So it's like the Vorador's mansion in the middle of the Termagant Forest. That place is kind of like Vorador's mansion is not a bad place, but the swamp around it is kind of annoying because there's all sorts of like plants that shoot tiny projectiles into 4 directions, and they're sometimes hard to make out on the screen. And because it's swamp, you're constantly having to turn into your mist form to avoid being burned by water. And on top of that, there's also a lot of locations blocked by trees. And of course, you can't swipe with your axes and be in the mist form at the same time, so you're constantly just having to switch between the two, and that's like a cause of aggravation. Well, not really aggravation, but just it's kind of tedious to just constantly go back and forth, especially with the loading times of these early CD games. But yeah, that place is, tedious in that way, but only in that way. You get so many goodies. You get the mist form, like I said, but you also get the flame sword, which I just love. It's a simple weapon, but it just jimmies my jams, and I love it. And then after Vorador's mansion, then comes the location that I've mentioned multiple times now, the location with where the enemies that poison you are located. And while that place isn't super rough in any other way than that, the one that comes after that I'm not going to get into in this playthrough right now, or this play session right now.
One thought I would kill.
Yeah. Shut your mouth, Cain.
There is no greater relief than that from vengeance sated. With my assassins dead, my quest was over.
Your quest will be over quite many times since we keep repeating this pattern here. Here we go. Yeah. I started to think about the stuff I was talking last time about D&D, and I kind of started to wonder if I even got into any kind of conclusion about those kind of thoughts that I was spitting, you know. Because I can get quite scatterbrained and distracted easily, so it's often easier to just kind of ramble on and just hope you get to a point. I don't know, but you know, it's about the whole idea of having different genres and having different tastes in Dungeons and Dragons and in TTRPGs. The point I wasn't sure if I made in that video, besides just, you know, expressing that how important it is to learn to find your own taste and to learn how to articulate it to yourself and express that articulation to others, so that needless frustration can be avoided, and like everybody wasting each other's time when their tastes are so different that they're not just aligning at all. You know, when you can express those things in a session 0, a lot of that kind of frustration can be avoided. The one point that I don't think I wound up making in the last video was that for a dungeon master, especially a new dungeon master, that's simply something that you have to sometimes accept, that there's nothing you can do, and it's fine. You don't have to, like I mentioned earlier, the comparisons to like customer service providers and stuff like that. That's a comparison that sometimes gets made online, and it's a very negative and kind of entitled kind of comparison on part of players to expect that from a dungeon master. And with these kinds of tastes and these sorts of preference differences and all that, it's very important to remember as a dungeon master that sometimes you just can't jam with everybody. No matter how nice and how much you enjoy their company outside of gaming, sometimes people just don't align when it comes to almost any kind of hobby, you know, and gaming is no different. And it's not because you're not a good enough dungeon master, and you can cause yourself a lot of like extended frustration and pain by basically like trying to convince yourself or having somebody else convince you that that there's no such thing as that kind of like misalignment of tastes, or even like bad behavior when it comes to, you know, people around the table, whether it's about people having like bad tendencies when it comes to like just having bad manners or being inconsiderate or being just outright dickheads, you know, to other people around the table. It's not something where you have to like put it on yourself that, well, if you're a dungeon master worth your salt, you can run for everybody and you can make everybody like gaming with each other and, you know, get along around the game table and all that stuff. So that's something that a lot of new dungeon masters especially ought to learn to hopefully internalize, that it's okay. Like it's kind of like if you're reading a book or watching a TV show, if you've watched like first few episodes and it's not clicking, it's just everybody tells you it's great and you want to give it a chance, but it's just not clicking, it's completely fine to just stop on your tracks and just find something else. It's one of those. I used to have it with books. I used to think like, I've already invested so much time into a book. I've read like first fourth of the book. Like I might as well just finish it, and the 3/4 of that book wind up not being any more entertaining than that first fourth was when you were suffering. And you were telling yourself you maybe should give it up. Maybe there are like some, I'm sure there are like examples of where that doesn't hold true. For example, one of my favorite TV shows, Star Trek: The Next Generation. It's well known that the first 2 seasons aren't that great. Well, I find them great, but they're very campy. They're very like old school, campy, very like old episodic TV type of stuff. And the sort of TNG stuff comes from 3rd season on. Or rather, it comes consistently 3rd season on. Like each season, like the first 2 seasons, have single episodes here and there that are very in the same kind of tone as the rest of the series, but they're like just surrounded by episodes that feel much more like the sort of tone that the original series from the 60s was. So I can definitely understand that you can't like tell someone that, yeah, you need to watch 2 whole seasons before it starts to get good, of something. I find that kind of unreasonable. So I'm sure most people who really love the later seasons of The Next Generation also like the first couple of seasons, but just in a kind of different way, and they merely pale in comparison when you have seen the later stuff, But it's one of those things that I think that's the kind of example of something that's not common. I think that in most cases the thing is that if you're not into it by a couple of episodes in, it's like, yeah, you most likely won't be later on either. And that's the whole job of pilot episodes. The whole job of pilot episodes is to get people interested in the series in order to get them, wanting more. And if you're watching the first episode of a series and it's just not clicking, it's completely fine to just put it down and go find something else. With Dungeons and Dragons or role-playing, the only downside, of course, is that it's highly likely that everybody, if they have a group of players, they have that one group, and that's it. So sometimes it's kind of hard to, if you're really not clicking, just, find something else to do with your time, especially like if it's a genre thing or a game thing. If you're not into D&D and you're just wishing that, once they're done with D&D, we can maybe play something like Call of Cthulhu or something like that, then you can just wait it out and return when time comes for another game. But if it's a personality issue, then it's like, okay, if you really want to keep on with the hobby, it's
my quest was over.
The best idea is then to just find a new group. All right, 99. Here we go. We're ready to rock and roll. So let's get to Termagant Forest. Let's see. Where is it on the map? Oh, there. Oop, oh, there. But I'm not taking on the Axis. Screw the Axis. I hate the fact that I have to be without spells. I don't want to... well,
The Axis.
well, I'm disappointed in myself. I know that if I don't use the Axis, I'm gonna have to constantly go back and forth between that menu to arm myself with different weapons, and if the enemies happen to be made out of wet tissue paper, if I'm holding Axes in this location, then so be it, I guess. So be it. Hey, bear. That awful noise! That awful noise! I don't know if you can see the projectiles, they're so tiny. Cohagen. Ustenheim. I don't have any memories of Ustenheim. Let's see, there's a little dungeon behind this tree. Where does this lead? It's a little tower. Yes, it's the mist form. Here it is.
When in mist form, I'm invulnerable to physical weapons, blade and claw. I can see through locked doors and cracks and move swiftly like a shadow fleeing light.
Yeah, the only downside is that when you get too used to it, it starts to really eat at your magic. Now I have all these transformations. The only transformation left is a boosted version of the human disguise. The boosted version basically allows me to act normally with sword in hand and all that. I just have this little symbol of a mask above my head when I'm in that form. Yes. Walk through bars. There's enemies. I don't care about you. I'm incorporeal. But I don't know if I can actually even press... But oh, there's wind turbines. Oh. I thought like, well, yeah, I guess melee hits. But I'm already down like a whole symbol on the side of... Oh, shit. Oh, no. Oh, no, no, no. Well, see, now it's trying to spoil me by giving me energy banks. Yeah, I'm not wasting these. Let's just turn back. I have 5 energy banks. It will be an absolute waste to use them here. I'll just... Oh, see, I was wondering what? I don't have enough mana to use lightning, but no, it's because I'm holding the axes. The goddamn axes. So yeah, let's just fry these orange fiends with lightning. And his friend who was just standing there didn't see a thing. Okay. Let's go take care if there's more of those fiends in here. No? Oh, there's a shadow creature. But yeah, let's see if later on there's a spot where I get to go down there to grab that vial and stuff. But yeah, let's grab and let's go on and save up on the energy energy stuff before going onward. Was that a shadow monster? Those are some quality shadow monsters when I can barely make them out. Well, of course, the reason is that I was so zoomed out. But yeah, let's just wait a little while for the energy to refill itself. With D&D, there's actually like a couple of things that in the past few years I've like turned an entire 180 on. And they're both things that I never thought that I would turn 180 on, because they're both things that I used to have pretty strong like personal principles that they're beneath me or something. Well, that's a very smug thing. Well, I did have times in my life where I had those kind of smug, kind of snobby attitudes about different things that I liked, whether it's hobby stuff, music, movie taste, anything like that. I think a lot of people go through a period like that in their lives sometimes. But thankfully I'm over that, and thankfully I've found things that I've really changed my mind on. And those two things are pre-written adventures and miniatures. I always figured that pre-written adventures were for people who had very like trouble coming up with campaigns themselves, whether it's because of creativity or they simply didn't like the process of it. And I always like figured that it would be like a sign of me like losing my edge or something like that as a creative person if I turn to pre-written adventures. And that's kind of that's very like jaded and kind of like backwards thinking attitude to have of that, because they serve so many purposes. Pre-written adventures are very good at holding new dungeon masters by the hand, to give them something where they not only get perspective of, oh, this is what written adventures look like. If I'm coming up with my own adventures, this is the sort of stuff I might like figure into my notes and stuff. And for a seasoned dungeon master, they're a very good way of challenging yourself, of taking something that's kind of vague. Sometimes they're more vague than in other times. Sometimes you read these pre-written adventures and there's no heed given to like why a certain NPC is in a certain location, what they're doing there, if they were living there, how were they, getting food, or getting rid of their bodily waste, and getting oxygen, for Christ's sake, in like underground locations or in some kind of bunker or something, and things like that. Those are good to really like stimulate your imagination and challenge you to figure this stuff out. Oh yeah, can't press buttons in the mist form. And I'm guessing that those spikes don't harm me, but wondering why they exist if they... Oh, okay, I see. There's those wind turbines, so I have to use the... No, wait. How do you get past them? I wonder if they're even on or something. Let's just... What? I'm stuck? Well, oh, okay. They suck you towards them? Strange. Real strange. Okay. And now that I'm... Oh yeah, they suck so... They suck so hard that I have to go all the way here so that they don't suck me, to basically be trapped and attached to them in this form. Okay, teleporter ahead. Don't slash at me. Is this some sort of a crypt? I don't know if their strikes even harm me in mist form, but okay. And then I teleport out. Is that the end of the dungeon? Yeah, it is. Okay. Well, thankfully it didn't drain too much of my energy. And now I'm gonna be returning back to using the axes. So, no spell using for me, so that means the spell magic magic power is gonna be rising. Let's see how tough they hit me when I... Whoa. Whoops. Okay, so there's immediately like a river. I'm sure there's going to be goodies there, and this seems to be quite a large area. I have no idea where it leads. There's no like places to stop, so I'm wondering if it's clever to go there. There I want to go first, and then I'll return here, and that's where I need to go. See, again, I'll get the flying directions.
The Black Forest reigned here, its kingdom rarely invaded by those that live in the light. But it was called home by this mysterious Vorador. Legend told of a time when Vorador defeated Malek of the Seraphan. If such a man did exist, then he could perhaps be the key to defeating the Ward.
I think that looks kind of like an Orkanaut from 40k Warhammer. Oh shit, the glare is so bad you can't make it out. But I just think that looked like a giant orc tank mech. Tank mech. So yeah, I don't have all that magic on me yet. Let's let it get up a little further, because it's a pretty long trek to go off to the side in your mist form and come back, so it's gonna drain a whole lot of magic to do it. But yeah, also another thing about the pre-written adventures, whether they're modules or these kind of short scenarios, or whether they're these complete like adventure chronicles, these campaigns where players go from level 1 to 10 or even from level 1 to 20 or something like that. There's a kind of a nice aspect about it, bringing people together and building community, because that's one of those things where you can tell people that, oh yeah, we played Curse of Strahd, and oh yeah, we also started with we started playing the Lost Mine of Phandelver, and once we were done with that and we were on 5th level, we went to, you know, Dungeon of the Mad Mage or something like that. Oh, we played Dragon Heist, and then we went to Mad Mage. And, you know, those kinds of things. There, and you know, oh, remember that NPC? How did your group run it? And what did you do in this situation? Oh, we did this. Oh, that's neat. You know, oh shit, I forgot these things existed. I mean, of course I couldn't forget that they existed, but I thought they came later. Oh yeah, I'm fully stocked. Yeah, they puff though. They're kind of these flowers, giant flowers that puff poisonous gas, and it's annoying. It's another way of boxing you in and getting you poisoned. So now the swamp begins. Let's just see where we want to go. In the north, there's going to be a cave and a dungeon. One of those things might be the Flame Sword place, but they're both locations I want to go to. On the left, there's a cave, and then on the bottom, there's some sort of a platform where I can jump as a wolf. And then on the bottom, there's another small either dungeon or just some sort of a warehouse room, and in the middle, another building. I'm thinking I'm gonna start from the left and go down. Alright, now just surrounded by swamp water. Goodbye, zombies. Oh, there's one of those melting spells. I'm wondering, I think this is going to be one of those sanctuaries that gives you more potency for your blood. Yeah.
The blood of ages flows so sweet. Come, drink from us. Your strength has increased, for our blood enhances.
Again, more reason to go back to the beginning of the game, because remember last time my strength was increased and I got the mace and everything, there were still those giant boulders I couldn't push. So now there's at least one location I have in mind where I really want to go now because of the enhanced strength. So now let's go further south, and there's going to be the platform that I can jump to in the wolf form. Here. There's at least an energy back there. That's very, very nice. Oh, that was the only thing. Yeah. I think I'm gonna just stay put for a little while and let the energy come up again. These are the sort of things where when you're using the mist form a lot, the game kind of incentivizes you to use the energy banks, but no way. I think right after Heart of Darkness they're the second most important thing, because I mentioned the weapon that drains your magic. That's the Soul Reaver sword. Once you get that, it becomes the MVP of basically boss battle weapons. It's kind of decadent and kind of spendful if you use it on just regular enemies, because when you use it, you get this kind of like a roaring flame in a flame sword, but you get this soul kind of flame-looking kind of like wisp of tormented souls that like give off the shriek of the damned, just this kind of as you're like swinging with it. It drains a whole lot of your magic to do that, and with one swing you'll basically do the same effect as the energy bolt does to all the enemies you're hitting with it. They all like, their limbs get cut off and they're all twirling in the air, so it's very like pleasing. It's kind of like one of those moments when you get a minigun in a first-person shooter and they give you like tons of weak minions to just mow down and you feel all powerful and all that. Soul Reaver is exactly like that, but it's extremely expensive to use it in terms of magic points. And when it comes to, fighting bosses, it becomes the weapon to use against them, and the game knows it, and that's why the enemies are also very tough at that point. But because it takes up so much of your magic, you're gonna be, using energy banks in those boss battles constantly. And because Soul Reaver is so hefty, it takes up both of your arms. It's basically like a Zweihänder, like a two-handed sword, like a great sword. You can't cast spells with it, so you're constantly like going to the menu, taking some other weapon other than the Soul Reaver so that you have a hand free. You cast the energy bank, then you go back to the menu and take the Soul Reaver that takes both of your hands. And especially when you use energy bank, once it's kept your energy all the way to the max, it drops it to the minimum. So during those boss battles, the answer at that point is to take another energy bank. So that's one of those things. Okay, so now those places are done. Let's just continue in this downward. Let's head there next, and then from there to the other parts. So we have a little bit of a trek in front of us, but as long as we're not gonna get blasted by fiends or something like that, I think we're gonna be just fine. There's gonna be zombies, and they're like, yeah, screw you, zombies. Another energy bank that pleases me. And now we're already here. Yeah, it's a building. You can enter. Oh, nice. Okay, sorry, Mr. Dagger Man. This is a very nice spell that you get here. It's basically like a projectile that when it hits your target, it immediately sucks their blood out of them. But it's not like one shot, one kill kind of thing. On weak enemies, sure, but on stronger enemies, it's not that simple. I can't remember if you need to like soften those enemies up first, or that you you get only a tiny bit of their blood and that they still keep coming after you. This place is basically filled with like meaner versions of the early enemies, like your regular hooded assassins and the like, but they have blue shirts rather than green.
This spell allows me to use blood from my own body as a weapon. When struck, my enemy's blood would flow from their bodies to fill me with life. 'Tis a risk, yet the rewards are a temptation.
Ah, I see. So it's, yeah, instead of mana, you're using your own blood. Let's see. Yeah, and of course you're getting more blood from them than you're using to cast the spell. This dungeon most likely is filled with encounters that incentivize using it like that. Well, there you saw it. There you saw it. I hit him with it and he didn't die from it, he just kept coming. So, I guess that'll be 2 hits. Alright. And that's also something they're trying to teach me now. There's a monster that has green blood in the way, and I don't want that. I don't want that. I wonder if I can make that jump as a werewolf, because I do want that item. Oh yes. Let's just... yeah, because I'm not going to be returning here, so I will release you. But see, I've already lost so much magic. I'm guessing he does use magic as well, because elsewise... let's see. Oh yeah, now it wants me to kind of... Yes. Oh! Yeah, for a enemy like that who's like... let's just take the iron sword to deal with the goddamn... a blubbering mass. Iron sword. Blubbering mass heading my way. There you go. But yeah, something that one can easily kind of lose sight on when it comes to Dungeons and Dragons and dungeon mastering is that when you have a style that you prefer and how you like to do things, you sometimes don't consider how different somebody else's preferences and styles are, and that's part of the thing that I was talking about with the styles and preferences and genres and all that, because things like prewritten adventures bring to mind those questions about creativity and all that stuff, and someone might not have any lacking in creativity or anything like that. It just might be tedious to them, you know? If you're looking to get relaxation out of role playing, and the very antithesis of relaxing after a hard day or week at work, you know, is having to do all that homework that dungeon mastering usually entails, you know. If that's the very antithesis of fun and relaxation for you, I completely understand it. And oh shit! And if things like pre-written, oh my god! It's the zombie once again. It's not the zombie, it's a skeleton. A red skeleton, but my god, he was stabbing me, shanking me so fast that I couldn't even do one swipe with my regular iron sword in the middle of it. Now I'm getting these shurikens. Wondering if the game wants me to. To use them instead. I did stock up on them, so I have quite a bit of them. I wonder, was the dungeon here? Yeah. Alright, so now I have that spell. I'm starting to get a bit concerned over blood, but it's no biggie. So now we head on upwards, and there's that place. Follow the glow of the ignis fatuus. Yeah. Oh, okay. Here I get the spell that's, you know, about mind control. This is okay. It's again something that I only use when the dungeon in question basically demands me to use it, meaning that there's buttons behind a ledge, and the only way to get behind that ledge is to mind control someone who's already behind that ledge, you know, and that's exactly what's going on here.
This spell allows me to enslave my enemies, giving me control of their bodies. When I release my grip, their bodies will shrivel and die as I displace their souls and replace them with my own.
Yes. Alright, so there's a guy. Let's mind control him. Yay. His one job was to flip that switch, and that took so much of my magic. God damn. Let's mind control him. Can I mind control him, or is it just mortals? No, I think it's mortals. I need to mind control one of these guys. Oh, no. Oh, his friends killed him. So let's... No. I'll go here and I'll just try and... Whoa! There, got some energy. Flip the switch. I don't know if I need to do anything further with him. spot where the skeleton... yeah, it opened. Stairway here. Oh, skeleton, please don't kill me, skeleton. I want that prize. Ah, and now I release you. And here is the same thing. Oh, blue shirt fella. Oh. Just walk past the skeleton. Some blood. And open that. Wonder if I can get back or if I have to like... Yeah, I have to let him die and just wait for another one of them to come here so that they can walk up those stairs that were just open. No, no, no. Why, you little scab. Thank you. So that's all the goodies collected and the door is opened. I wouldn't mind... Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, shit. Their knives are pretty strong. They killed their own friend with just one. It takes so much of my freaking magic to do this. Just to press buttons to open doors to go onward. That's something for later. I need to go here first. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh shit! He almost killed me. Oh, and I need to go to this menu. See, this is around the time when I have more spells than I have slots on my quick select thing. So, if I want to use this, I never need the dark, the lighting up the dark areas spell. So let's just keep this thing handy. A little bit of blood. I'm getting kind of anxious about that as well, so let's just go past it wearing this. Now I have that. Oh shit! I didn't consider that at all! That's hilarious. I didn't consider that this shield reflects the projectiles back at the enemy. So I needed that guy for the mind control thing, and he was just throwing knives and they just boing right back at him. So that means I'm gonna have to return here. Oh boy. I'm my own worst enemy. It's like, whatever you do, don't drop this precious item. Whoops! So, well, let's see if I need to press... I don't think I need to press the button again. See, the button was only there to prevent that guy from being in my direct. Oh, fucking hell with your daggers. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. I don't believe this. My own carelessness is completely making my life harder. Well, that's the story of my life, I guess. But yeah, like looking at how little I have blood left, and I have to go like in the line of fire of his like really lethal little daggers. It's one of those things where it's like, and also my magic isn't as high as I would like it, but if I just standing around kind of waiting for it to refill, My blood is gonna drain. So, okay, let's be careful with the axes here. Sure. Thank you. Oh, okay. There wasn't even a button here, just taking that Heart of Darkness. Pressed something because I heard the kind of button click sound. But what was it? What did it press? Or is it that I have to press something with those guys as well? Because this doesn't lead anywhere, so there must be a button there. So that means I'm just gonna have to wait for the blood to accumulate here. I guess I could just kill one of them with a flay. Oh. There. Then let's grab this. As soon as I can do it, I'll do it because I don't want to have my blood trickle down. But yeah, with the whole preference thing having to do with like finding pre-written adventures kind of more relaxing when they don't have that homework stuff for you, I completely understand that, and I think that's very similar to using all the random tables and stuff like that, because there's a lot of like source books and even game systems where it provides you with tons and tons of like random tables to roll stuff on, all the way from like what sort of surrounding is this game going to take place, what size of a settlement is going to be near the players, how much money do the players have, what sort of alignment is the town or the settlement, you know, and all this possible stuff. Come a little further down. No, I pressed that button already. I pressed that button already. What the hell am I doing? Is it really that there's simply nothing left for me to go to in here? I came here, I pressed a button, got here. Then I went here, pressed a button so that I could go there, and all there was the friggin' Heart of Darkness and a clicking sound as if something was pressed. So that makes me think that maybe there's something opened, you know, here. Is there? Did something open here? I think I've definitely like pressed that button with that guy. Oh man. I'm like wondering if is the point that I should just turn back and go out of the dungeon at this point by myself? If the doors aren't locked behind me, I'm just gonna do that and expect that that's... I'm gonna just expect that this is what was expected of me. Because if the whole idea of this place was just to get this spell, usually the idea is that you go into a dungeon like that, the doors behind you are basically locked, and you get that spell, and with that spell you can traverse the dungeon and get out a different way other than the one you came in through. Alright, so now there's another dungeon and a cave. In one of those two, I'm sure the flame sword is located. I'm just gonna go in order. So, maybe I shouldn't even need to use this. Well, I need to traverse over water anyway. See, now my heart is already like beating. Like, oh god damn it! Give me some blood. Oh, yeah. Yes, flame sword it is. So basically this place is gonna have a bunch of stuff for me to burn. But because it burns everything, there's nothing to feast on, so I'm going to have this spell. That's a good combo, by the way, having the flame sword and having this spell that makes blood shoot out of your enemies. I'm guessing I'm going to be facing some zombies in here. No? Okay. Oh, thank Christ. Some blood. Oh, more blood. Oh, just what the doctor ordered. Oh, this is so nice. So nice. So kind of you. Okay, there's basically a two-way path. The other one is blocked. Let's see. Okay, there's just a bunch of buttons to be pressed. Oh, I think this is, again, like Yahoo for me. It's a puzzle. Some of these buttons need to be pressed and others not so much. There's one. Another. Let's first see if I... Oop. Okay, I need to basically just relax a bit. These guys are mortals, so I'm gonna get the mace. I'm gonna get a lot of blood out of them. Hopefully they don't strike so quickly that the mace becomes, you know, a completely useless tool at this point. But I'm also willing to use She's definitely a mortal because I get regular blood out of her and she's hanging around with these typical assassin types. But she lets out a monster growl when she dies, and she does that kind of ghost forward lunge attack. Well, maybe they're just kind of some sort of in-between thing. I have no idea what sort of shenanigans people are up to here in the Termagant Forest. Get in line, sir. Very nice. Completely filled. So yeah, that pretty much tells me that there needs to be some sort of an order with these things. So this might take a while. Hopefully not, but let's just... What if I leave that? And that? And maybe... that? These are the sort of things that game manuals, or rather, maybe if I'm being a little bit smarter about this, maybe it's about just all green or all red. So that's red. Red. Away with that green. Red. Red. I think all red ones are pressed, so let's try just greens, and I think greens are just those in those corners. Yeah, I love this. And all the while, my wolf form is eating up my magic points because I can't even imagine doing this while in any other form than the wolf form. Oh, thank you. Now there's a bridge here.
sword ravages flesh with teeth of metal and flame, leaving only scorched remains.
Only scorched remains. Hell yeah. Let's arm ourselves with it. It looks pretty much like the iron sword, except like the iron sword, and then the flame sword. It's a little bit beefier and it's orange. Ah, yes. Let's see. Ah, yes. Very nice. So, it's time to burn. Let's go here. Zombies? No? Sorry, I'd rather take your... Well, now they let out like a regular human scream. I think it's only tied to the weapon I'm using, not what kind of creature the target was. Oh, this place was really nice. If this is pretty much the start of the... See, this is basically a way of having, like, the enemies have gotten tougher, so now I need a tougher sword in order to kill them with 4 swipes as before in the game. But the downside is that they burn to ashes, but then again I've also gotten so many spells that it's all pretty much balanced in that kind of way. So now this cave is the only place left that I need to check before moving onward. Ignis fatuous, turbulent forest. Let's see. Oh, okay. This is another spirit forge, but see, the thing is, this spirit forge is, yeah, I don't want to shed my blood in return for those antidotes that cure you of the poison condition, because my answer to being poisoned is basically already that just kill them with the shurikens, and this place is not located as neatly right next to a fast travel spot. I would have to go a pretty hefty way, and I'm guessing that I would just naturally lose a tiny bit of blood just during the trek here, so I wouldn't even dare to do it twice in one sitting without using Hearts of Darkness, of course, and that would be just madness. That would just be madness. So yeah, sorry Spirit Forge, I'm not interested in the trinkets you're providing. Purveyor of trinkets. Not for me this time. Okay, so the swamp is continuing. Yeah, it does a little twirl, and then it's to Vorador's mansion right there. So, if I remember correctly, this whole trek is going to be just laced with those fiends, orange fiends right there. And basically this is why I got those flays. As you can see, my magic is pretty much at the bottom. So... Oh, I remembered wrong. So, okay. Let's... Well, I'll just go there quickly. Oh, shit. I'll just stick around here for a while and let the magic increase, and then I'll just start heading towards this path, and then it's Vorador's mansion all the way. And yeah. But yeah, the other thing I mentioned about, that I did a complete 180 on was miniatures. And I've been into miniature collecting and painting as long as I've been into tabletop RPGs. It was like a huge wave of new hobbies came to me when I was around 13, in 7th grade. It was like a lot of older hobbies I had to let go of. I sold my PlayStation and I stopped collecting Pokemon cards, and instead I got into Warhammer and tabletop RPGs along with various other things. But those are kind of some of those things that really stuck all the way to adulthood. And I always really loved collecting and painting like Warhammer miniatures and stuff like that. But the kind of downside of it was that first of all, they're really expensive, but also a lot of their pricing is also affected by how good they are at the actual Warhammer game. Because if you have like a single miniature of like some sort of a hero, that hero is gonna be a badass, and that one hero is gonna be the equivalent of like 10 regular dudes. And so when you get a box of 10 regular dudes, they cost pretty close to the same amount as that one superhero kind of character. And when you're just getting miniatures to paint them, that seems like utter madness. Like how come this much plastic costs the same as this amount of plastic, you know? But it's all based on selling products for the game. If there's only one superhero that you're expected to have per army, and slews upon slews of like regular dudes, of course they want to incentivize you buying more of those regular dudes, and you only need one of those superhero kind of characters. It's the same thing with Dungeons and Dragons books. There's usually only one dungeon master per group, and there's many players. Thus, it's not a wonder that there's a lot more source books on sale that are all about players getting more options for their characters, and players getting more magic item ideas and spells and all that. And there's a lot less stuff that's aimed directly at the dungeon master, you know. So that's just business, you know. But with the miniatures, it was always kind of frustrating because I never enjoyed Warhammer 40k. There was a short period of time where I really enjoyed it, when I really got into the groove and was actively playing with a couple of my friends who enjoyed playing in a very similar style to mine, where we weren't being very competitive at all. We were just like, hey, look at these new figures I made and painted, like, oh, that's super neat, and it has this cool ability, ooh, let's see that play out, and all that stuff. So it really worked out great, but later on, it kind of just whizzled out. And with D&D, I always with any role-playing game, I always preferred this kind of theater of the mind, where you don't want to break your immersion of just imagining the story unfold before your eyes by having literal tiny little toy soldiers that you're pushing around on a grid map, you know. And it's basically I felt like it really worked against the entire premise of role-playing, which was just this kind of create this story with your friends and improvise it as it goes along, and you know, attune to the changes in direction when the players are doing something completely unexpected, and all this sort of cool stuff, and I just felt like miniatures weren't a part of that kind of fantasy. And later on, especially with 5th edition, when I started to, the mechanics of the game were they emphasized on things that really spoke to me. They were streamlined, they were simple, and I felt there was a 50-50 kind of share of the sort of tabletop RPG element, where things are very simplified and a lot of like modifications to rolls are just dealt with. Well, you either have advantage or you have disadvantage, and that's a very simple thing of okay, you just have your stats, so you know what you're rolling, and are you rolling with advantage or disadvantage, or is the difficulty for the rolls high or low, you know. And that was always very like appealing as a very simple thing that's not ever getting in the way of you guys crafting a story. But there was also the element of the like really the gamist side of it, which was all the kind of special abilities that characters have that have very clear distances, areas of effect, and all these sorts of different things. Are you shooting something as a cone? Are you casting a spell that causes basically a blast that has this radius, and all these different things? And it became clear at some point where it's like if you want to get your kicks out of those special abilities and all those things, you need to somehow, whether it's with just doodling on craft paper or something like that, or using miniatures, you need to be able to oh, ow! You need to be able to oh shit, so many blasts. You need to be able to basically represent and be aware of things like distances and oh fuck me.
Strange that Vorador would choose a dwelling so perilous to him. The swamp could only offer a vampire hazard and pain.
As we've just seen. as a living example. Oh fuck me. So now there's a hazard. I have to walk on water to get past. Oh no. I need to blast. I'm gonna blast your path. Why? Why? My God, why? It's like homing into the woods, into the trees that's blocking my sight. Oh my God. I'm gonna have to just suck it up and just fucking oh. No, I won't let you guys go. I'm making sure you suffer a fate equally as bad as mine. Feel my pain. Need shurikens. God damn it. Okay. Not too many enemies here. Let's see. I'm again losing blood quite a bit here. But I do have a lot of magic.
Vorador's keep was hidden deep within the turgid forest, nestled among vines and creepers that clung desperately to its dark, weathered stone.
Oh, I'm already at the door? Oh, okay. Well, I imagined it being longer, the walk than it actually was. I'm already here. Huh. Well, that's fine by me. I have 71 shurikens still left. And yeah, in this game, Vorador is a little different than in the sequels. In the sequels, he's much more of an ancient, wise, and kind of melancholic kind of character who's kind of given up on any kind of like future, and it's like, why bother? Destiny is like a frivolous thing, and it's like he's really like burned out kind of thing, just sitting in his chair, just surveying and all that stuff. Here, he is very much like a vision of what Cain is to become, and you know, having heard Cain's attitudes about blood and humans and his superiority and all that stuff, Vorador is basically that turned to an 11, and basically like if you keep this up, Cain, you'll become like Vorador kind of thing.
The luxury with which this Vorador surrounded himself was impressive. His wealth would shame the haughty nobles of my former court.
Yeah. Decadence. Statues of him or other people like him. Bearded vampires with long ears and all that.
That this vulgar display of fortune remained undisturbed was a testament of fear's dominion over greed.
Cain always manages to turn things into something to despise, you know. It's like Vorador shares a lot of his views on indulgence and decadence and all that, but to Cain, of course, he manages to figure that, whoops, the wrong spell. Ah, thankfully he didn't die. Yeah, I was supposed to mind control him. Press push button. But yeah, of course, Cain manages to justify or like reason that that having this kind of opulence and wealth and all that, it just reeks of fear.
Their charms were almost visible through the gauze of their clothing, yet beauty such as theirs delivered only death. For these were Vorador's pets, nothing more than beasts, slave to his will and the easy prey he provided. Vampires, all of them, held in thrall by one stronger still.
Vampires? Okay, I had completely forgotten that these are basically like fledgling vampires, like as Vorador's slaves. To me, they're no different from basically like regular humans that I get to feast on. What's the point? Oh, of course the point is to use this form. And then most likely get on the push button. I don't need to use that form for nothing here. Likely there's a... Oh! Fuck. I think maybe if I use the mace, though I might be writing my own death sentence, because the mace is... It's not slow, but these guys are super fast. A little bit more blood. Oh, thank you. Well, that explains the way these women were behaving. They're basically like humans, but they're really fledgling vampires in Vorador's enslavement.
Vorador's pantry, a vampire's feast. Like cattle awaiting slaughter, men and women dangled from the rusted hooks upon the dungeon walls. Blood and viscera frosted the dirt and stone. The abundance nearly overwhelmed me. For blood is the life.
The abundance nearly overwhelmed me. Let us partake. Let's see where this place leads. I can feel free to use the flame sword again now that my blood is so high up, thanks to Vorador's little pantry there. There's some sort of unfamiliar enemy there. Whoa! Oh no, you didn't. That's horrible. Thankfully, the flays are homing. Oh, she was teleporting so fast, there's no way I could have kept up. But now I get the Chaos armor, and even though I have 2 armors left to find after this, Flesh armor and Wraith armor, this Chaos armor is the one that I wind up always using all the way to the end of the game, because this armor means that if an enemy hits you, they harm themselves, and for weak enemies that are trying to like box you in and mob you and just use like wolf pack tactics on you, just everybody nibbing a little bit, they all harm themselves.
My enemies are quite vicious, and the Chaos armor extracts from them a heavy price for their bloodlust. The blows are meant for me, but it is their bodies that carry the wounds.
Yes, let's put that on. And as you can see, all the way to this point, the bone armor has been quite useless.
Chaos armor.
Very nice, like monster face on the abdomen there, and having the very again like Warhammer kind of aesthetic with the big spike shoulder pads, or Legion of Doom, Road Warriors. What a rush! Whoa, that was a button? Wonder if that... Oh, I need to control his mind. Alright, let's see what's behind door number 1. There was a teleporter pad there as well, but it's easy enough to get back here. Whoa! Don't hurt me. I understand you're protecting your lord, but I mean your lord no harm. Oh. Oh. Wonderful. Wonderful. Wunderbar. No, you're blocking my way. Come on, follow me. You big dummy. And now I guess I'm going to be using the teleporter pad here. Oh, it's me. And there. I will release you. Very nice. Gotten a lot of nice things in a very short span of time. Okay. Ooh! Just standing there? Just massacre those fiends. It's like I need to avoid their projectiles so I'm out of sight, but I can just hear my homing shurikens hitting them, and then them just letting out their death growl, just and it's like, that's all I needed to hear. Oh shit, that explains it. That purple bastard is summoning those orange bastards. as long as there were those orange ones, my shurikens were homing at them and keeping the purple ones safe to summon more. Son of a bitch. Okay. How about I do this? I have no idea which one. Oh, which one of these? There's no button here. Okay, so let's save up. Maybe it was you that I need to. Is there a button? No, it's no, I get it. Just die, I suppose. Somebody died somewhere, and then I'm going to use this. My typical answer to spikes from now on, I guess, is just to transform into mist. Alright. But yeah, okay. Is there somebody I can mind control, or a button I can push, or did I miss something in the other room, or maybe I can't. Well, oh yeah, I just need to zoom out. Time to mind control a nice lady. Escape the shadows. Press a button. I'll slap. Oh, too bad. Too bad the slap wasn't as powerful as I hoped it would be. But at least I get to have the fantasy of slapping my enemies to death, even though it cost me my life. There. And then I'm gonna grab that. Let's just turn into a wolf and jump over there. Come on, you can do it! It's such a tight area that the wolf had some trouble fitting his big ass. Eat shurikens. Eat shurikens. Okay. Then it's back to the mist form. Ah, some more items. The tarot cards. Those are nice. They're usually the ones that kind of wind up lasting the longest for me, because I use them very rarely. But once it comes time to use it, it's very powerful. And now I get a spell where this is again something that's super neat, but something I very rarely use. It's a spell where I like suck the blood out of multiple people at once all around me, but it takes, if I remember correctly, a whole lot of mana, and it's not very potent.
Oh, to bathe in the blood of others. This spell is especially useful in the face of multiple combatants. Beware those with tainted blood.
Yeah, beware those with tainted blood, meaning basically that if there's monsters amid mortals, that means that I'll also get their poisonous blood. So it's no bueno. And I only have 24 shurikens left. Let's see how long this place. Oh, I think I'm right close to seeing Vorador, because this is again one of those locations where it's like, his decadence, his bloodthirst, his vile nature.
And upon the wall, scribbled in blood, were the words, Manus Sella die.
Manus Silla die. I have no idea what that's a reference to. I'm sure there's some sort of a fan wiki somewhere, but I don't think it's very obvious. Let's just drink the blood.
The room I had entered had but one purpose: the torture and execution of human beings for the sadistic pleasure of its engineer. Blood was splattered on every surface. The dread and agony of victims past still echoed through the lethal walls. A symphony of terror and agony filled the air. Then, from amidst the cacophony of screaming souls came the perverse laughter of the vampire himself.
Yeah, he's right behind the door. And the door opened only after I drank everyone's blood, so as to kind of really affirm my nature. And I think now we'll get to meet Vorador. Oh! Burn! Well, we still have some stuff to do. So basically his laughter was like an ever-present... What? Oh, that was some sort of a vampiric thrall who was
Amongst Vorador's possessions, I found an ancient chronicle. Long ago, vampires grew in such number so as to capture the attention of the Circle. The Order of the Sarafan, the Angels of Light as they were called, was instated to counter the menace. Thus, the vampire purge began.
Yeah. One can imagine that if vampires were simply like another predator, just roaming the wilds and every now and again killing humans here and there, or having thralls that they've kind of captured, it might be like something where it wouldn't get people. Yeah, control mind. I want to control mind more than I want to suckle blood from a distance. But yeah, it's when you meet Vorador and things like that, people like that, and you see how Cain behaves, it's easy to imagine, oh, for fuck's sake, I forgot to put the appropriate spell into the slot, being a clumsy klutz once again, but thankfully I can just reappear. And thankfully, because he is such a crucial part of a puzzle, he doesn't turn into a wraith like normal mortals do. At least the game has some sense of decency and mercy. Well, there's nothing to grab here. Thankfully, this guy walks pretty fast.
The tapestries wove a tale of chaos ignited, an orgy of fire and pain. Undead beings with rotted skins caked with sulfur and ash beckoned at me through a burning abyss. Their tortured stares were a testimonial to the price of weakness. Their fate would not find me. Yet blood calls to blood.
Vorador fills his mansion with art depicting the same sort of decadent and horrible violent acts as pretty much everything is decked to this place full of anyway, with real violence. Alright, now there's a safe spot here, so that must mean that Vorador is behind this door. And it's just gonna be a cutscene, because we're all negotiating and getting to know each other. It's not about fighting. I'm here to ask for his help, and he's gladly providing it because I'm a promising future prospect vampire. Yeah, here's his table. Let's meet the man.
bowels of that black forest, I found something worse than hell. A vision of what I was becoming.
It's not often I see one of our own, especially one as young and foolish as yourself. Nonetheless, drink. Drink deep and indulge your gift.
Gift. Vorador thought my curse a blessing. We were gods, but mortals offered their blood as sacrifice so that we could enjoy our supernatural powers. And someone, deep inside my new self, knew mortal dreams were prayers to us, begging us for power. I pondered this as the decadent old fool prattled on about his past. A boorish account of how he defeated Malek of the Seraphim and took his vengeance from the Circle of Nine for supporting the Seraphim holy war to exterminate us.
Call your dogs! They can feast on your corpses!
Familiar spells.
After slaughtering 6 of the sheep, I defeated their pathetic image. Since then, our kind has not bothered to eat cattle, except to feed. And I suggest you do the same. Meddling with the affairs of man will do us no good. Seraphan witch hunts are much too tedious to concern ourselves with. Am I understood, Kay? Good. Take this ring if you ever need assistance in your study. Despite your youthful arrogance, you amuse me. This. Now be gone.
I don't know how well you could make out a lot of what Vorador said because his voice is rather. Some of the dialogue kind of is pretty hard to make out sometimes. But basically, Vorador's whole deal is that he just wants to be left alone to his decadent acts. So, of course, humanity can't leave him alone to his depraved, murderous rampages. So they put on a crusade to rid the world of vampires, and he basically lashes out and kills almost all of the members of the circle, and then goes back to his mansion like, alright, will you now leave me alone to my hobbies? And that's what he basically wanted Cain to do as well. But he also wants Cain to survive, because he's like him in a lot of ways. He's, it would be such a pity to lose you to the abyss. And he gave me his signet ring, or the special ring, and with it I can summon him. And the next course of action is to go after the Pillar Guardians again, and when they summon Malek to protect them, I'll summon Vorador, and those two can do battle while I take care of the Pillar Guardians. So Sadly, it's not like a Pokemon battle or anything, which would have been cool, but it's basically something that happens kind of off screen, their battle to the death. But yeah, let's look at the ring. I think Kane says something about it. Let's see here. What? What? I thought I had the... Oh, maybe it's...
Fire hate.
Maybe I have to pick it up somewhere or something. Let's see. Yeah, here it is.
My visit with Vorador only strengthened my resolve. His power uncontested by mortals, he had fallen to another enemy. Decadence has claimed itself many a great warrior.
Yeah. But yeah, now, if I go and look at the ring, for anybody who's played the sequels... There.
Turning the ring over in my hands, I realized that it was crafted from some strange alloy formed from broken teeth, ground down and soaked in blood.
Okay. Well, it kind of looks like some sort of a knuckle duster ring, where it basically looks like an axe blade on a ring with some runes. But if you've played the sequels, you'll know that Kane, in his elder form, where he basically looks a lot like Vorador at that stage of his vampiric development, he wears that ring as an earring. That's a nice little callback to this, because the ring is kind of a minor item, which, you know, its appearance isn't something that everybody recognizes immediately, but if you know, you know. Alright, let's see if we can get out of here. Okay. Use some of the blood. What's in here? Oh, it's the safe spot. Okay. So let's continue on. Your master forgot to tell you. Yeah, don't bother. The guest is okay. He is with me. They're still attacking me. Sometimes the hit detection is kind of wacky. I felt it when I was fighting both boss battles thus far. Okay, that's like a thing I can get, but it looks like some sort of a secret thing again. Crypt. Let's just get out of here. Save spot and get out. Okay. I'm guessing there's going to be another flying beacon here. Yeah. These tend to operate on a certain logic here, so that every time you exit a major section of a game, there's going to be at least some sort of a way to come here right after if you want to go and do things like I'm about to go and again do the rinse and repeat stuff of the shurikens. But
and so I left that place, with clear knowledge of what sort of monster I would become if I let my curse consume me, and with an ally for the future.
Yes, indeed. So now, let's take the axes, take down that tree, and already there's a precipice that shows me like the flight location I get to go to, which is going to be That dreaded place with the poison-emitting enemies, Dark Eden.
A triad congregates at the roof of the world, Cain. A plot to twist the land, to shape the world. North is where your vengeance lies.
My vengeance? Now that's of course bullshit. It has nothing to do with my vengeance. It has all to do with, can't reach the wolves from here. Wonder if I can reach them with the flame sword. Even though, actually I'm gonna just pick up the mace because this is, I'm not gonna go any further before I do the rinse and repeat for the flays, because the flight beacon was so close by, which means that I'm going to just fly off as a bat. I'm gonna go there. And I'm gonna do the rinse and repeat. But I just also happen to run out of coffee, so you know what that means. That means I'm gonna go for coffee and a bathroom break while you guys watch cartoons. I think that's about enough of that. Let's get back to the actual thing. Yeah, I was talking about the miniatures earlier. Yeah, so basically the thing is that while I love collecting and painting miniatures, especially the ones from Games Workshop, who produce Warhammer and Warhammer 40k and all the other games that go along with that, their miniature creating quality is so like, it's so good. I love it. I love working on their miniatures. The plastic and the sculpts and all that is so top-notch quality that it's pure pleasure. It still goes that low, and I wasn't at the tippy top. My blood wasn't all the way to the end. Where the hell am I actually even going? I need to do the sanctuary spell. So I'm just gonna. I don't want to risk doing the double thing and getting killed, or rather having to spend a Heart of Darkness, because I would under no circumstances exchange 1 Heart of Darkness for 10 shurikens. That's just a bad deal. Let's turn into a wolf now. I could actually, before I go into the Dark Eden, I could check out all the places I now can as, you know, a mist form vampire. And also now that I can push the big boulders around, there's at least one location that I remember that I want to get to with that. So let's first do this and then we'll do that. Alright, you damn humans. Suckle on that sweet, 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 sweet blood.
What trickery is this?
See, he struck me twice, and that made him, you know, stagger. That's the chaos armor.
Sneering faces were forever etched upon my memory. I had crossed death for this moment. My mind was empty save for one thought. I would kill.
There, it's overflowing.
There is no greater relief than that from vengeance sated. With my assassins dead, my quest was over.
It's always over. But yeah, the necromancer said in my head that, yeah, the Dark Eden is where my vengeance lies, but it has nothing to do with vengeance. There's just 2 of the pillar guardians, the guardian of the pillar of nature and the guardian of the pillar of energy, I think. Yeah, they've basically gotten it into their heads that they've gotten into the business of creating abominations. They're basically like, they're corrupting the land in this kind of dome-shaped laboratory where they're playing Frankenstein, basically. They're creating abominations out of the joy of it. I'm not sure if it's for any kind of reasonable gain, or if it's just the madness that Nupraptor's kind of you know, mind spread to them, and now they're mad that way. Because I know that the next boss after them is one that started to basically do deals with demons and is summoning demons everywhere and all that, so it's all madness, I suppose, one way or another. But I can't recall if there's like any kind of further justification on their part of it, you know. So yeah, let's go back. So yeah, now I ought to have, what is it, something like 40 plays or something. But yeah, I was talking about the miniatures. So in trying out different kinds of miniature games over the years, I've just kind of Warhammer was just something. It was like kind of like how D&D often is a synonym for tabletop RPGs. Warhammer is a synonym for miniature wargaming. Kind of like someone says that they need a Kleenex, and they don't need a Kleenex, they need some sort of a wet wipe, like moist towel, but it's become like, that's like the marketing department's like wet dream, that your product is so synonymous with the thing that it's for, that people just refer to that thing as your product, or by your product's name, you know. And that's a great achievement in that sort of sense.
Sneering faces were forever etched upon my memory.
So yeah, I figured if I'm into miniatures,
there is no greater relief than that from vengeance sated. With my assassins dead, my quest was over.
So there was the idea that if you're into these miniatures, if you want to collect them and paint them, it's Warhammer that you're into, basically. And a lot of Games Workshop games have a lot of little things about them that make me not like them all that much. But of course, a lot of war games have those same sorts of things. So the games tend to be super long. There usually is very minimal narrative to any of it, even though there are versions of a lot of games that are heavy on narrative. It's usually still nothing more than, okay, we are in a sewer and we need to find a magic sword in the sewer, and after you find the magic sword you need to get away before you get annihilated or something like that. One side protects the magic item, one tries to snatch it, capture the flag kind of stuff. But that's pretty much the extent of it. It's taking familiar tropes and missions from wargaming and kind of military type stuff, and then just putting on a layer of flavor and narrative, and it's not enough for me usually. And over the years, I've simply noticed that I think my favorite miniature game is D&D, or 5e rather, and I would think a lot of people might think the same way of 4th edition. I think when I read 4th edition material, it feels a lot like this is some really good miniature wargaming stuff, like playing 4th edition on a grid with miniatures and having a lot of the powers the characters have and all that work in a very grid map friendly kind of way, having a lot of very gamist kind of design elements to them. I've never actually played 4th edition, but I remember back in the day when it came out, that same impulse that I had in me, that miniatures and these very gamist kind of designs take away from my immersion in the storytelling part of it. But I've kind of turned around a little bit on that, mostly because I've gotten more into board gaming and all these kinds of Gloomhaven and even Hero Quest and all this stuff, and it's just kind of opened certain floodgates with me. And I would much rather play just some D&D scenarios with miniatures than I would any Games Workshop or other war game style miniature war game, and I would have never thought those words would kind of come out of my mouth, but it's...
There is no greater relief than that from vengeance sated. With my assassins dead, my quest was over.
Yeah. So yeah, those are really nice things. And also, one of the things when it comes to the miniature games where you're, it's an army game, oftentimes when you decide on your army, it's one of those things where, okay, well, you've decided on this army, so now you're married to that idea. You better really like this army, because it's what you're gonna be having for the next year or a few years going onward or something. And if you want to change up your army in the middle of it, you'll easily wind up just cluttering all your free space on your shelves and your storage with unfinished armies. You want to get into an army, you buy a few units of guys and soldiers, and then you realize that these are no fun to paint, or this army doesn't work in a way that I enjoy and all that stuff, and then they just start to collect dust around your corners. But with D&D, it's pretty much you can buy whatever you want to use in your games. There's a whole bunch of different opportunities to use certain units and just kind of crossbreed, use stuff from a science fiction game here, use stuff from a fantasy game here, and just mix and match and create the sort of stuff you want to use. Except that with D&D you have to be kind of aware of the miniature base sizes, basically meaning that medium creatures who take a 5-foot space on the grid map, they basically need to have a 25mm base. And with a lot of miniatures, one of the kind of downsides with that is that the trend has been for multiple years now to go bigger, to just up the scale, make the soldier models constantly just taller and taller and wider and wider. And if you want to have some sort of a great monster creature, they're going to be like a huge centerpiece, just super bulky, super big, kind of the size of like a for the people who collect like anime miniatures or something like that, anime figures and stuff like that. Okay, I have 88, so I need just 10 more. So basically, yeah, I'm just gonna visit the place one more time, and I don't even need to
Their sneering faces were forever etched upon
give
my memory.
blood
I had
twice.
crossed death for this moment. My mind was empty save for one thought. I would kill.
Let's see if I can act before. We managed to fly off before Kane said his my quest was over line, but we didn't manage to escape. There he is! Get him, you bastard cur! That line. Can't expect a miracle, so. But yeah, it's like army collecting is it's a really harsh beast. Especially with Warhammer, the problem is that a lot of times by the time you figure out which army is to your liking and you start buying and painting miniatures, by the time you have the size army that you need in that game, which is like 2,000 points, each unit costs a certain amount of points, and you assemble your army by first agreeing that, okay, we're going to play an average game, so 2,000 points worth of units in your armies. And that's quite a bit, but the game is so built around so built around that idea of the 2,000 points. Everything is balanced around it. The sort of ideas of where you're expected to spread your units to protect other units and capture objective points and complete missions and all that stuff. It's all built around 2,000 points, and that's the only amount of points they use whenever they play tournaments. And it scales very poorly to basically to play 1,000-point ARM games, or even to expanding it to a greater number if you're planning on playing a 3,000-point game. Those usually don't scale very well if you're looking to keep things kind of balanced and fair and to get into the mind frame or the mind kind of idea of what the developers of a game system were after. If everything is built for a certain size game, and when you fiddle with that and everything seems to kind of start to fall apart, and you start to have problems with things and stuff like that, it really informs you that this is how it's supposed to be played and all that.
I had crossed death for this moment. My mind
I don't want to listen anymore, Kane,
I
please.
would kill.
Alright, Kane. Okay, that river ends there. Let's see where this river continues.
What trickery is this?
Please. Please, just... I don't want to... Alright. Let's try this. Let's see where it goes. Probably Ric Flair somewhere. Oh, a bridge cuts it off. There's a lot of bridges cutting off a lot of rivers. So basically, yeah, it leads nowhere. So let's just get back and forget about this for now. Because this does use quite a bit of my resource. And then let's fly to that place where the giant boulder was. I want to take care of that. And that was like I think it was here. Yeah. And once that's done, I'm gonna head towards the Dark Eden where we left off. I think I'm gonna go through Dark Eden because it's such a climactic spot to, you know, first visiting Vorador. Oh no, this was all for nothing. See, that's a gray giant boulder. I suppose I can push brown giant boulders now, but I don't think I've ran into any of those yet. I think I remember one in a certain dungeon, but it wasn't impeding my way, really, it was just there. So yeah, let's continue on with the actual story. This might be it. This might be it. Yeah. So now it's gonna... There's gonna be a town first. If the town is gonna be like the town before the before Malek's Bastion, where it takes a lot of time, I'm gonna stop after that one. But if things go quickly and I go to wolves don't count the way humans do. In terms of being stunned, you can't stun wolves. Oh, here you go. Here's some brown boulders. They're basically the ones that are keeping me from going. Oh, I see. So, if I go there, I'll go to the town, and I can also go around where most likely there's going to be enemies, but there's also going to be goodies. Let's first go to the town and then go there. Actually, no. Let's first go here because if I remember correctly, whoops. Oh, just says pause when you're in the wolf form and you try to enter the menu to change up your gear. But yeah, let's have the access just for things like this. Because if I remember correctly, the enemies that are here on this ledge, they're kind of scarecrow looking things, or straight up scarecrows that send ravens or crows. Yeah, just like they're just like projectiles. But I'll try to get past them because most likely there's... Oh. Okay. Oh, it was this short. There were just 2 cards worth. Okay, well, mighty big decisions we have to make for, you know, which way to go first. The map always just seems to be so much larger than it actually is. When I look at it, and the wolf runs so quickly, I kind of tend to forget about it. So let's see, it's nighttime, so there aren't gonna be anybody like walking around, but there's a lot of doors. There's like 5 doors to enter. Let's just go in this order, even though it might be the opposite that's intended. Ooh, that's goodies, but my fillets are at maximum. Don't mind me. I'll just grab your shrieking spells you're hoarding in your barrels and continue on sleeping. Even though I'm most likely not going to return here, so I might just as well drain their blood, but nonetheless. There's just 2 rooms. Yeah, see, they're just stocking me up with the antidotes because they know I'm gonna go to a place where I'll highly likely get poisoned. But I beg to differ. Give me blood. The other one can stay. Let them wake up in the morning and see that their beloved has been killed, slain in the night. Let's see if they vote Seraphan next election. There's a closed door. Is there a secret button? Is there like some sort of a button thing? I have no idea. I'm sure there's some sort of, if you push this chair, it'll open the door. Yeah, keep your door. These are the sort of locations, like, I remember reading at least, like, one of the tips of, like, where to find certain secret locations was exactly like that. Like, push a chair and a teleporter pad will appear. Like, okay, whatever. I wonder if it says something about this place.
In my travels, I learned much about the legend of Janos Ordren. Here in this quaint pastoral village of Ustenheim, that dark enemy was born. Janos preyed upon its peasants until he was finally hunted down and executed.
And that is going to be a retcon to hell. Maybe Janos Ordren spent some time living amongst humans here, but he is nothing like a typical vampire you would imagine in the sort of tips and hints this game gives about him through the Heart of Darkness and things like that. Janos Ordren is not just the greatest vampire to have ever existed, like Kane says in this game. He is basically like a progenitor. He is like patient zero. Well, not really. There's a huge amount of lore of like the ancient peoples of vampires, how they were before they became vampires. Just burn. Burn. How they were before they became vampires, and how they were after that, and why Janos Ordren is pretty much the only one left of that ilk and all that. So it's a huge story thing, and it's one of those things where it might take ages to just explain the lore, especially while I'm trying to concentrate on playing and all that, but it's very juicy stuff, because the entirety of the Soul Reaver franchise, basically the continuation of the story, but the continuum of the 3 games of Soul Reaver 1, 2, and Legacy of Kain Defiance, their whole thing is basically to give you more and more of the backstory and the lore in these kind of bite-sized portions, and every time you advance, every time you meet someone new, they explain the backstory and lore to you some more, and it's well worth it. The story of this game series is excellent, and I would say that it's my favorite, like, without spoiling anything too bad by saying it, it's my favorite time travel story of all time, basically. And yeah, if you're interested in that, I highly recommend checking out even just the story bits. Alright, now the music is starting and the land is already looking like greenery is dying off and all that, so we're getting now to the point where we're gonna be facing enemies that do that whole poisoning bit. So I'm gonna take the axes off. Let's just take the flame sword because I'm gonna be using the flays. Oh shit. Oh no, please, come on now.
The poor wretch was warped beyond recognition. To think it was once human. Such strange creatures that had been spawned by this dark magic, things half insect and half mammal, human torsos grafted onto abominations of the flesh. Sick as it was, I couldn't help but admire its creator's ingenuity.
Yeah. Cain is not above admiring anyone's cruelty or inhumanity. So let's see what's in here, and once we get out, those creatures are gonna be spawned.
The blood of ages flows so sweet. Come, drink from us.
Thank you.
Your magic energy recovers more quickly for our blood enhances.
Very nice. That's the second time my magic recovery time has been boosted, and I appreciate it each time it happens because it can never be fast enough. Yeah.
Come, drink from us.
Yeah. Now there's going to be 2 of those slugs, right outside. Let's just be quick about it and go. Another tree that needs to be cut down and a cave behind it. So let's check that out. See, this is just another place filled with goodies, but I can't recall. Oh, there's monsters. I can't recall how bad they were. They look like demonic moles. So let's try the energy bolt on them. I don't want to waste the shurikens on them because they are definitely like a resource I want to hold on to as far as possible. Oh, it took something like an entire room's worth. Energy bolt. Okay, and then there's the mind control situation there. Give me those and pull the lever. What happened with the lever? What did it open? Some sort of a bridge. Oh, to the one item there. Okay, this place wasn't that big of a hall. Still nice. I only spent magic points that I can now just let kind of rejuvenate while I can just wait for a little bit. But yeah, like I was saying about the army building, and like if you're playing a miniatures game where you're expected to build an army, an army the size of most miniature war games is so big that by the time you've managed to purchase all the models that you need for an army, and you've managed to assemble them, clean them up of all sorts of mold lines that you get when the molds, are separated and you have the three-dimensional things from the mold. There's going to be a little bit of a line where the mold's sides meet, and you need to clean and scrape those off, and you need to clip the little bits off of their sprues and attach them with plastic glue or super glue or whatnot, and assemble them, and then you have to paint them, and it's a lot of work. It's of course nothing but pleasure for those of us who enjoy that side of the hobby. But if you're looking to get into the army game, that might not be your cup of tea, painting miniatures. You might like collecting them and playing with them. You might like reading lore about them and reading novels that are written about the setting of Warhammer and all that. You might not enjoy painting at all. And in order to get an entire army assembled, it takes so much time and money that by the time you've gotten the first set of models to the point of getting 2,000 points of an army, the rules of the game have already been updated and changed, and new editions might have come out and things like that, that everything you've assembled might all of a sudden be completely different from what they were when you started. You might start with an army where the whole point that draws you in is that, these are like armored zombies, and what's cool about zombies is if you shoot at them, they just keep walking towards you and all this stuff, and that's like the fantasy you want with them. And on top of that, they're like space marines that are worshipping like some sort of a plague demon and all that cool stuff. And by the time you have 2,000 points assembled, purchased, painted, all that, all of a sudden new set of rules comes out, and all of a sudden they're no longer like zombies at all. Now all of a sudden they're just stinky. They have a field of an area of effect where everything that's close to them is falling under this plague, this stinky fart cloud, and everybody's like suffering because of that. That also is in tone of serving like a plague demon, but you might not be into that sort of thing at all. You might not be into measuring like these areas of effect with measuring tools all the time. Instead, you want to play an army of attrition where you just keep walking and lumbering onward like an army of zombies, and nobody's putting you down with conventional bullets, and all of a sudden your fantasy is just completely turned on its head, and that's one of the big tragedies of those games, and something that's made me, fall out of love with Warhammer multiple times. So many times. But with D&D, using miniatures there, again, it's like the miniatures are nothing but representatives of your imagination. I often like to come up with enemies, like just regular enemies and boss battles, and even like terrain and things like that, based on what sort of options I have available to me in the world of miniatures. It's one of those things where, for example, I've bought myself a lot of like reptilian lizard men, some more bulky with big clubs and maces, some more skinny with like blowguns and things like that, and I don't need that. There's only like a bottle of is it a bottle of blood? I can't be sure. If it's something else that's better, I don't want to walk past it just because I didn't want to change up weapons. But yeah, I like to purchase those based on what models are cool and available, and it was just a bottle of blood. Well, anyway, and come up with D&D ideas based off of that. Like, whoa, I want to like set the game in some sort of a rainforest or some sort of Amazonian jungle and stuff like that, because I have so many like tropical creatures available in miniature market.
If it could be said that a land descended into madness, could be an accurate account of Dark Eden. A garden of horrors, seeded with sick perversion of nature's design. I knew that this Dark Eden I had trespassed upon would continue to grow until all of Nosgoth was consumed.
Yeah, make no mistake about it, that's exactly. I don't know if I can go past those gates in the mist form, or if they need to be opened with some sort of secret shenanigans. Well, this just keeps going north, so yeah. I need to get the axes, and there's another kind of like mole-looking creature. The first one was like in the cave was like shooting fire out of its face. This one has all sorts of teeth everywhere, and I think it's got some sort of a lightning flavored bite. Again, another one of those huge boulders that are gray. I'm not strong enough to deal with them yet. I don't think this creature makes me poisoned. No, it didn't poison me good. So I'm not going to use the flays on that, even though they do get a free swipe if I'm not fast enough with the sword. That guy didn't poison me either. That's great news. I'm starting to think the slugs are the main perpetrators of the poisoning, so I'm gonna be sure to save the flays, the shurikens, for them as much as possible. Especially since they take something like four shurikens per slug.
Magic seethed and shifted. I watched the dome of energies expand, absorbing, recreating, consuming life, and leaving behind only a twisted paradigm. They fixed us!
So yeah, I want what's behind these trees. So yeah, another thing about like assembling an outright army of 2,000 points is that you're kind of not only married to the army you've chosen, but also the color scheme. If you originally like, let's say you see that the box art has a certain color choices for the army, and you figure that, oh, this is the sort of color they ought to be, you know, and you start painting them like that, and then you realize later that, oh man, I should have really like, you see somewhere like on some sort of a candy bar or something, you know, you see two colors together that really pop out, like there's turquoise and orange, or green and red, or something like that, and magenta and blue, or things like that, and you're really like, man, I wish I would have painted my army like this, and you feel kind of trapped because, you know, you already have a bunch of models painted one way, and if you now change your mind, that means you're going to have to repaint the others before, or change armies altogether just because you want to really paint them with specific colors, and that's also kind of too bad.
I passed through the wall. It seemed the magic only preyed on things that were alive and pure. Or perhaps it simply decided that I was twisted enough.
Yeah, the dome is warping basically these creatures into what they are, into these abominations. And yeah, it's not having an effect on me. Oh, somebody understands. Somebody understands. They gave me a whole bunch of shurikens. So yeah, with D&D, it's a lot easier to just paint what you find cool, and if you discover a new paint scheme idea or a new miniature that you really want to use, it's so easy to just change things up. You know, if you paint, if you buy a box of some sort of demons or frogs or whatnot, and you paint one of them green, and then you kind of like wish you painted them pink, just paint the next one pink, and have the green one be something like, oh, when these demons are different colors, they do different kinds of damage, or they originate from different planes of hell or something like that. Whatever, it's a lot easier that way, where you're not expected to have that sort of rigid consistency with paint schemes. Because in a lot of army games, just like in real life, in army uniforms, the colors tend to have specific meanings, and each nation's armies, and even in different kind of army subsections and things like that, the uniforms change up. And if you look at a parade or something, you'll get to see a whole variety of different uniforms. There's the Navy, the Air Force, the Army, all those kinds of folks marching together, and everybody has a different uniform. Okay, so that's the Dark Eden location. This first cave here, I can't remember if this is just a save spot. No, this is where you move onward once you're done with Dark Eden. Okay. So once we're done with Dark Eden, we return here.
A tower stood in the distance. From its apex spewed the vortex of energy that shaped the lands below.
Yeah. We'll just enter the place. And when it's time for the boss battle, there's two bosses. Oh, it's not the door. I'm gonna be fighting two bosses at the same time, but thankfully one of them is kind of tedious and the other one is absolutely like so simple. It's almost sad, because one of them is going to be the Pillar of Nature, Bane, and he's basically going to walk around creating pits of water that are going to work very much like mines, like he's creating minefields, and I'm going to hurt myself if I walk through the water, but I just need to just swipe my flame sword at him enough times for him to die. But with the other one, the energy one, she's just going to be standing on a little island to where I can't get to her, and she's going to be shooting projectiles. But all I need to do is put on the shield, walk close to her, and she's going to blast herself to death with her own projectiles.
The surface of the castle belied its interior, for it was far larger inside than out. With the powers the Circle had at its disposal, it would have been simple to distort space to accommodate this strange structure.
So yeah, there's teleport pads, but those are the ones you arrive to, not the ones that teleport you elsewhere. So let's just start eliminating locations one by one. Alchemists. There you go. Now in this place, the whole idea is just, let's just remain calm and throw shurikens. Those guys who shoot needles off of their bodies, they take only 2, and the slugs take 4. And if I can help it, oh no, oh no, 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 no. Those are the only enemies I'm gonna be using the shurikens on. Well, it's nice to hear prisoners screaming for help in the distance. That means I'm gonna be... Oh, but that means the flays are going to target them first. Needles hit me. Some blood. Yeah, that's the one bad thing with homing weapons like that, is that if there's any opportunity for it to home to a direction you don't want it to, it will. So that's why it's often wise to probe with just one, so that you don't just and they all hit a tree or something.
The sorcerer's sanctuary, his laboratory. Inside was all manner of items arcane, pickled bodies, dissected corpses, both man and beast, and metal construct that heaved arcs of energy into the air. I sensed more than one force being manipulated in this place. Strange. Rarely did a sorcerer condescend to work with others.
There's a teleporter. That means the teleporter is the way out of this place, but back to the starting hall where there were the multiple locations. But I just want to check. Well, there was one antidote left. Nothing major, but if it was a Heart of Darkness, then I would have beaten myself over the head about not going back and getting it. So yeah. Back to the main hall. Now another door is gonna be opened. This was the save location, so this is where we're going. I only have 33 shurikens left, so I think I'm gonna be using the energy bolt on the guys who shoot their spikes, because thankfully the slug's puke didn't reach me, because I was at an awkward angle and I couldn't get the shurikens to fly properly to their target. Slug was getting to me. Let's see. Okay, there's room with a button, and that leads to another room. Very simple stuff, yeah? Let's just be patient. That's the thing. Patience, patience, hopefully this place isn't like with Malik's Bastion, the things that demanded see, like one encounter, already 8 shurikens into those guys, and there's more on my head. Oh no! I just talked about the probing thing. See, that's a great example. I shot 2 shurikens and they both wanted to go to that prisoner on the wall. The only kind of downside is that I'm gonna be left with a huge stack of antidotes, and they're gonna be very unnecessary after a while in this game, because they're pretty much created for this location, more or less. I mean, oh no, no! Those guys I really don't like either. They're pretty fast and nasty, but it's okay. It takes 4 energy bolts to kill one of them. I don't know if I think I can go past those bars in the mist form. It's like the bane of my existence. Yeah, but they're such good goodies. Life bar gets extended, mana bar gets extended. I'm a happy camper when that happens. Oh, he sliced at me and killed himself because of the chaos armor, and once again I did not get poisoned. So once again it's like the slugs may be the only ones who are doing it. Oh, these spikes. Oh, this is gonna be rough. Oh, thank God. Like I said before, those spikes, they kind of trap you in, and they let you have all your money's worth. Oh, so seductive, so seductive. I'm gonna do this, even if I lose some. Now you got to see what I was talking
The
about.
heart of darkness.
But it was worth it. It was worth it to get an extension on my life bar. I would trade a Heart of Darkness for that. Yes, I would. And this location, I don't think is too stingy with the with giving out blood, because it's so thematic to this place, kind of like Vorador's mansion. That this place is all about flesh craft. That's one of my favorite kind of like horrible things to have an evil wizard or sorcerer be into. Flesh crafting, blood magic, flesh crafting, having all sorts of like magic that affects one's mind and manifests in like distortions of flesh, or complete like illusions of distortions of flesh, and all these kinds of things where it's like body horror stuff. Okay, now I'm gonna use this because I'm gonna have to walk into right into the line of fire. So how about you just keep your goddamn projectiles? We'll just agree to disagree on getting me fried. There. Alright, I'm another... Ooh, okay. 2 mini dungeons, one for a new armor, flesh armor. And again, just as I mentioned that I love the idea of the flesh armor, basically having a suit of armor that's basically another layer of muscle on top of you, and the way it works is that you can feel free to kill enemies, and the suit automatically drinks blood from them, and you don't have to worry about that. But when you're using the flame sword, that's not gonna even trigger it, and after the flame sword, the next choice is gonna be the Soul Reaver blade, and that's not gonna trigger it. So this is pretty much like if you want to use the axis, this is pretty much the thing to go for. But you know, it's a super neat idea. Kind of like the bone armor is super neat looking, but very unuseful.
How convenient. This armor, wrought with the blood of noblemen, drains the blood from my enemies for me, leaving me to focus on the slaughter at hand.
Yes. Okay. Oh no, not you guys. Let's see how much lightning they can eat up. 8. So that's double the amount of blaze. So that eats my magic quite rapidly. But screw you, I ain't getting poisoned. I don't care if I have those antidotes. I don't want to ever see the color of my life bar turn green. That's something just, I just want to avoid that. Okay, so this mini dungeon is indeed quite meaty. So much blood. See, because I guess these people who are like locked up in chains would be the sort that the flesh armor would be feasting off of. Silence! Come on! Just want to end that noise, that horrible noise. Silencio. And now it's the same thing for this. I can't even recall what that is, but I think it's another offensive spell. It's something where it rips the soul off of the victim, something like that. Well, it's basically something, if I remember correctly, where it just like one shot kills the target really intensely, but it takes a lot of a lot of power to do it. Okay, well, screw you guys. Oh, I only have 8? Oh, Jesus, I'm saving up those. Quit screwing around! Yeah. Oh, my magic is so low right now. Okay, this is just how short it is. But yeah, I'm just gonna wait a while. My blood is so filled to the brim that my magic ought to regenerate fast, and you know, after that I'll feel comfortable because I don't have to use my own, like, I had 99 shurikens and I'm already like, I started using them in the like frontier of this place, and now I'm in this place and I'm already running out. So I'm glad that there's like a multitude of different items to use and different spells to use, like the more powerful projectiles, like the shrinking one and the melting one and all that. But I also want to keep hold of those, because once my enemies start to be demons and the like, the shurikens are gonna become just, you know, almost like a misnomer. They're not gonna be worth anything against them. So at that point, I want there to be as many of those powerful projectiles as I can, you know, hold. By that time, this energy bolt is gonna be pretty much like just, you know, throwing water balloons at them or something. It's nothing special. But yeah, I really like those. I really like using miniatures in wargaming. And I mean, in wargaming and in D&D. I haven't I haven't gone to the distance of basically like using miniature terrain in D&D, because I feel that is often a sort of like, if you bring on those kind of dungeon tiles and all that, the more you have very literal miniature stuff, like let's say the surroundings and a lot of the characters, when they're very specific, that usually becomes the thing that the players all collectively imagine the place looking. And if your descriptions differ from what's on the table on part of the miniatures and the dungeon tiles and all that, it's going to be hard for them to focus on that, on what you described, when there's something in front of them. It's kind of like, I often have this image in my head where if a player doesn't have any sort of reference picture of their character, if they don't draw, or if they haven't found a picture online, or if there isn't like a movie character or an actor they say they look like, I usually just imagine the character looking like the player. And it's a very hard visual to shake off if you don't have anything else to pinpoint your idea on. If someone says that oh, okay, their character basically looks like Patrick Stewart from Star Trek, like again, Star Trek in my head, that's immediately like, okay, I immediately know what to imagine your character as. But if they and if they have a picture, like here's a picture of, like, they might be just some person they saw on Google image search or something like that, or they've drawn a picture themselves or something, that's again something to focus on. But if they don't have anything, it's very hard, even if they describe that the character has completely different hair and beard and different colored skin or something. It usually becomes that I imagine them as the player, just in like plate armor or something like that. And when you have miniatures, they very much do the same thing, at least with me, where if you, like, let's say you've bought yourself a miniature that looks like a knight, and then you say that here's my character's miniature, but my character doesn't actually look like that. He actually has this and he has that, and his tabard is completely different colored, and actually instead of a sword he has a mace. But if I'm staring constantly during combat scenes at that miniature, it's very hard for me to keep those ideas in my mind instead of what's actually in front of my face. And that way it messes with your kind of like, well, not perhaps immersion, but the sort of visual idea you're trying to create in your head about what's happening in the story and stuff. With dungeon tiles, there's only so many different kinds of tiles and pieces to use as terrain that I fear.
Spell worthy of the necromancer himself. This allows me to dissect a creature's soul from its vessel of flesh. For these poor wretches, only oblivion awaits.
Yeah, this is pretty much like I remembered, a instant kill. Let's try it out, now that I have it. Yeah, it's basically doing what was done to Malik, but instead of, like, imposing the soul on an armor, it just gets obliterated. So yeah, some more blood. Get that extended. There. So yeah, if I use miniature terrain, I often feel like that restricts my narrative of describing the area, because it's going to affect the player's vision of what they're actually seeing around them. If I describe something as very like out there, very in a specific kind of alien kind of way, a lot of the stone formations are very strange, and the forests, the trees look very different, but then I have regular ass trees and regular ass rocks. Even if I were to have painted them pink and purple or whatever, it still would be like that's a clear visual for the players to hone in on and for me to hone in on, and it kind of messes with the image I'm trying to portray. So that's a downside with using miniatures, I guess, too much. That's why I usually just use a battle map that's laminated, and I have like those markers that you can draw on a laminated piece of paper and then just wipe it off, and that way I just draw walls, and I draw like areas of effect, and I draw numbers of how many hit points you dealt to this enemy at this point, and so on and so forth, because that is abstract enough to where the players prefer the visual. They're not imagining the area looking like a white grid. They're imagining it looking like I described it, and that's where it kind of works. But oftentimes, if you just have dungeon tiles upon dungeon tiles that are all just gray bricks, easily the visual is going to become a world of gray bricks. Okay, so we're clearly now closing in on the bosses, because here's a save point, and we're gonna get to see who's behind all of this, and we'll get to summon Vorador.
Ah, not one, but three. Tajul the Energist, Bane the Druid, and Anacroth the Alchemist. How considerate of them to hasten my search.
So the scourge of the circle has arrived.
Fear him not, Bane. He is but our brother. His soul is ours for the taking.
Don't be ridiculous, Malik. To our aid. Damn you, Alchemist. I had not come this far only to have my quarry escape.
Vengeance for my eternity of suffering.
Well, as if you knew what eternity was. Grovel before your true master.
Never. From crotch to gizzard and feed what's left to your brides.
Sadly, that's about it when it comes to their fight. Once I'm done with my fight, Malik is just found destroyed, and that's it for him.
As Vorador clashed against Malik, I gave pursuit to the fleeing wizards, the Jewel and Bane. I danced their dance. When the time came, they would dance upon my sword.
His magic is weak. He is an affront to nature itself. It is our duty to purify him.
Let's see. He's really fast. Bane is really fast.
Bane, Victor!
He's taking so many hits. There. There, he died. And now, all I need to do is just stand here and let her. I think it's how it's going to go.
The antler headdress had broken in the fight, but power still resided in its ivory form.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, soon I'm gonna have to start using the, well, see there, now it's like, I think this is how you're supposed to beat her. Like, is there a certain angle I need to be at? I can't recall, but I do recall that the way to beat her, oh shit. Oh shit, I don't have energy back, basically. Oh, no. Well, let's see.
Bane's antler headdress. The antler headdress had sustained some damage during battle. Dark cracks sullied the ivory bone.
Oh, yeah, let's take energy bank and let's put it instead of this time thingy. Starting to get kind of now back to this. Everything's kind of slowing down. I think this is gonna happen. No, well, let's see what happens if I. Yeah, well, okay. Okay, well, I guess you could have beaten her with just reflecting everything at her, but I felt like it wasn't like angling itself towards her. So yeah, I just shot through the shot enough of the shields she had so that one projectile hit her, and that was all it took. That's all she wrote. She was a glass cannon. Well, not really a glass cannon, just a she put all her eggs in one basket, which was pretty much just this barrier, and that's all she wrote. Let's go get her, it looks like a garment.
The cloak was made from an alloy akin to lead, heavy and malleable, woven into fine links. The energy she controlled was stored in this garment.
Interesting. I mean, that sounds like a neat idea, something to use in a role-playing game sometime. Like a sorcerer's cloak that's made out of basically like chainmail of lead, and that giving her power. Sounds neat. So let's, let's see what Kate says about that.
The cloak of de Joule is fashioned from a strange substance, dense yet pliant. It served to both gather and shield the sorceress from the forces of energy she commanded.
Neat idea. Like if you had like a chainmail shirt that's that's basically like it has a cowl and it's like a skirt, like it goes for a long way. But if you just take it one step further and have the cowl be like a monk's hood and have the dress and the sleeves be really long, that sounds kind of neat. Sounds neat. Here's Malek's body, and let's take his head.
I found Malek's helmet amongst the scattered remnants of his armor, whole and intact. Vorador had finally laid his old adversary to rest.
Kinda sad how kind of anticlimactic that was, because Malek was such a undefeatable foe.
Malek's helmet crowned with a plume of braided hair, torn from the scalps of his victims.
Okay. I didn't realize that. I always thought it was like some sort of a horse tail or just some sort of a... Okay, automatically flying off after this place. Going back to the Pillars of Nosgoth. Yeah. And now that place is taken care of, so I no longer have to worry about being poisoned, basically. The next location is going to be the one that I referenced earlier in the last video, where it's going to be a very maze-like town that's full of demons, and then in the center of that town is a cathedral, and that's a cool place. I really like that cathedral place. It's rough, but it's not like tediously rough. It's just you know, rough enemies, and it's a large place, but it's super cool. The town, however, is the most tedious part of this entire game, and it's one where I'm going to make some notes before I play next time, because I don't want to get lost there.
The helmet of Malek I placed before the Pillar of Conflict. The pillar accepted its offering. Thus, it was restored. The act had taken on the feel of ritual. Isn't it strange how we must bribe our gods to stay? At the foot of the energy pillar, I set the cloak of de jour. The pillar accepted its offering. Thus, it was restored. The antler headdress of the druid bane I lay before the nature pillar. The pillar accepted its offering. Thus, it was restored.
You must seek Azimuth the Planer at the heart of Avernus. 3 instruments await you to aid you in your quest. But first, you must rise, and you must fall, and find your salvation in between.
Well, there's 5 pillars left. There's the one who's in the Avernus Cathedral, who's like the pillar of planes and things like that. Then there's the alchemist who was present in the Dark Eden, who simply teleported away. I have forgotten that he was there, but he's one of them. Then the necromancer is one of them, one of the pillars, and also there's the Pillar of Time, which is the Oracle. So I will need to get my hands on him at one point. And then there's the Balance Pillar. The Balance Pillar is going to be the big crescendo at the end. But now that that part is basically done, and I need to travel onward, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go back to my home crypt, and I'm gonna go and save the game and leave it at that. Leave it at that, and continue on from there next time. And next time I think I'm not going to even go and do the whole rinse and repeat thing with the flays, the shurikens, because in the town of Avernus, the sort of enemies I'm going to be facing, they won't give 2 craps about either the shurikens or that much of the energy bolt, but at least the energy bolt isn't a resource that gets drained. But yeah, that's all for now, and we'll pick it up next time, perhaps next week. So yeah, see ya, and I'll put you back to sleep, even though the sun has come up